For BBC One, more issues to tackle in the here and now.
Behind bars, but still getting their gyros. The benefit scandal inside Britain's jails.
Hello, I'm Mark Easton. Tonight, exclusively, how thousands of prisoners claim the dole from their cells.
Tonight, as No Smoking Day comes to an end, one popular entertainer continues a personal battle against terminal cancer. Hello, I'm Tom Mangold, and I've been following Roy Castle from his hometown in the north to this theatre in the south as he campaigns against the tobacco companies he holds responsible.
The price of justice for a mongrel charged with being a dangerous dog. The legal bill tops £70,000. Hello, I'm Linda Bryans, reporting on the chaos caused by the country's dangerous dogs laws.
It must be the biggest inside job in British criminal history. Convicts are ripping off the state to the tune of between £9 and £25 million a year. A Here and Now investigation has uncovered massive fraud behind bars. Thousands of prisoners claiming the dole and other benefits and spending the cash on luxuries in jail.
In Durham jail, for instance, staff say dozens of prisoners are getting benefit, and no one seems able to stop them. Malcolm McAvoy and Dave McTeer also wanted to claim the dole, but their plan fell through. It's normally simplicity itself, with an accomplice on the outside just signing on for them.
I would give me dole card to the person who wanted to organise the scam. They would sign my name, stating that they're unemployed and actively seeking work. Then a gyro would be sent out to us as normal. Then it would be cashed. Then we'd take their money and I would get mine.
And how lucrative is it? How much money would you make?
I get £69 a fortnight, and I give me mate a tenner for doing it, so I'd like have 59 quid just for now.
But it's not your money.
Well, doesn't really matter, does it?
In Manchester, I had a rendezvous with Tony, who always gets someone to sign on for him when he's in jail. And when he's on the outside, he returns the favour and signs on for another prisoner. He can't believe how easy it all is.
You know, you laugh at the system, don't you, because it's so stupid. I can lie back in my cell knowing that I'm receiving £42 a week while I'm doing prison. Take out of that £10 for the man who's actually collecting my benefit for me. And I receive £32 a week all the time I'm in prison.
It sounds extraordinary to those outside the prison service that prisoners should be able to claim the dole. Have you seen any evidence of it?
Oh yes, not only the dole. I've seen people being able to claim for invalidity, for mobility, sickness benefit even, and having cheques sent in from the DSS for inmates to sign and to be cashed within the prison so they can spend it on luxury items while they're in jail.
The prison benefit fiddle works because, amazingly, the whole system relies on the honesty of criminals.
When someone's sent to jail, a form is filled out which asks whether they're on benefit.
Are you receiving benefit at all?
No.
If they tell the truth and say yes, their benefits stop. But if they lie and say no, nothing changes. The prison's computer doesn't link up with the benefits computer. So unless the inmate tells them otherwise, the gyro checks just keep rolling in.
It's got to be the easiest line of world because it's only either yes or no. If I say no, I'm not receiving benefits, some fool is going to, every single week, allow me to get £32 while I'm lying on my back and, you know, in the prison cell. And it's just there. We grasp it with both hands and nobody challenges you for it.
It's a crazy system, isn't it?
Well, the country's crazy, and the whole system's crazy.
If a prisoner wants to continue claiming the dole, he's got to get round the problem of signing on once a fortnight.
All he needs, though, is a mate on the outside, an accomplice. A bit of business at visiting time and the deal is done. The accomplice will sign on for him in return for a slice of the profits.
It's already been pre-arranged with your friend outside that when, you know, if I go with some other Tommy or whatever his name is, you keep signing on for me, you know, and you take a tenner out for yourself and either send me the money in or save it for when I come home.
But how does the accomplice get away with it at the job centre? Come signing on day, he turns up, armed with the prisoner's UB40.
Many dole officers are so busy that it's easy for him to take the convict's place. Signatures are not always checked, and staff under pressure to get people processed quickly may not spot an imposter.
There's that many people unemployed and there's that many signing on. You couldn't expect anybody behind a counter to know everybody individually. Even with all our computers and that, they wouldn't know you. You're just another number to them.
The final hurdle is cashing the dole check, the giro, usually sent to the prisoner's home. Again, a loophole in the system means that's no obstacle either. Virtually anyone can cash a giro, although the prisoner's signature on the back will help. Often the cheque will be kept by the prisoner's family to be cashed at a local post office. But in Durham jail, for instance, prison staff will actually cash inmates' giros for them, money in their hands for extra treats while they're inside. So these are benefit checks which are coming into the jail?
Benefit checks, yes.
Well, don't you tell somebody to make sure it doesn't happen?
Well, it would be nice if we could send them back to the DSS, but we can't. We're not allowed to. The checks come into the prison. The governor is empowered to cash them, and that's what happens. The money's cashed. The inmates can then use it for their own benefits while in prison, not necessarily to send it back out to the families who may well be in need of it. They spend it on luxury items.
I can buy my radios, my Walkmans, my tapes, toothpaste, soap, shampoo, and of course, if you're short of cigarettes, whatever you buy, you can always exchange them for tobacco.
So the state was effectively subsidising a good time for you in jail?
The system allows you to do it.
Every day there'd be at least 7 or 8 checks coming in, every day.
Gyros?
Gyros.
And are we talking about large sums of money sometimes?
Some are. I mean, I've seen some coming in for £400.
But this is amazing, isn't it? I mean, why is it going on?
Because nobody wants to stop it, I presume.
The Home Office has confirmed that prison staff do cash benefit gyros for inmates, although there are checks which are supposed to counter fraud. The result of all these loopholes and system failures? Well, government sources have admitted to me that as many as 4,000 prisoners spread across virtually every jail in the country are claiming benefit behind bars right now. Convicts and their accomplices have been defrauding the state this way for years at an annual cost of up to £25 million. But while prisoners have been raking in the cash, the authorities have ignored the problem, even though they could have stopped it long ago.
I checked up over the last few weeks as a result of your inquiries and found that individual probation officers have been reporting cases as way back as 1988. And it does seem extraordinary that this loophole of one department not informing another when somebody is received into custody hasn't been closed.
We wanted to put our findings to the man in charge of Britain's benefits system, Peter Lilly, here at the DSS. But when we told him what it was all about, he decided he'd rather not talk to us. We also wanted to talk to him about a claim by one of his officials that the loopholes were closed, quotes, a few weeks ago. Again, Mr. Lilly had nothing to say. Today we presented evidence of the prison benefits scam to a number of MPs in the hope that they might get some answers. But as far as anyone can tell, millions of pounds of taxpayers' money is still being sent to jail. Did you feel guilty about what you were doing at the time?
Why should I feel guilty? It's just the fact that if there's a loophole in anything and the common criminal sees it, he'll grasp it.
Surely as a prison officer, though, it's your job to prevent crime in jail, and this is crime, isn't it?
I quite agree with you. Without any doubt at all, it is committing fraud. And obviously, by those people committing fraud, it leaves the ones who are desperately in need of the money, or more in need of the money, with less to go around.
As a prison officer and a taxpayer, what do you think of what's going on?
I think it's absolutely disgraceful.
Coming up, the high cost of enforcing the Dangerous Dogs Act. Legal bills are soaring, owners are crying foul, and the police are resorting to dramatic tactics. But first, on National No Smoking Day, Tom Mangold goes on the road with Roy Castle.
Happy feet, I've got those happy feet. Give them the low down beat, and they begin dancing. I've got them.
In the 60s and 70s, he was the Duracell man who'd just go on forever.
When they hear a tune, I can't control.
He didn't smoke, but he worked places and with people who did. He inhaled their fumes. It's called passive smoking, and now Roy Castle is dying from lung cancer. Today, his fame fuels a campaign against the tobacco industry he believes is killing him, but there's still time to do good. Roy, what are you hoping to build here?
Well, on this car park, this rather wet car park here in Liverpool, we're hoping that we can build a research centre just to look into the lung cancer problem. 40,000 people every year get lung cancer in this country alone, and only 7% of those people can hope for a life of more than 5 years. I'm one. And so this must be looked into.
What can they do here that they haven't done before?
Well, they're going to concentrate solely on the lung cancer.
The centre will cost £12 million, an expensive but worthy memorial.
Does anybody here know why I'm bald?
His old school. They're too young to remember Castle the entertainer, but not too young to smoke. Anyway, cancer's for old men.
Why am I bald, do you
Is
think?
it because you've got a lung disease?
And what do you think has caused the baldness?
Cancer.
Statistically, a quarter of this class will have smoked by the age of 15.
50 years ago. Do you think that it's possible to get cancer by breathing in other people's smoke?
Yeah.
And have you ever smoked?
Yeah.
Government attempts to reduce this figure have failed, partly, says Castle, because cigarette advertising has still not been banned.
What would you say that this is trying to get you to do?
Smoke and get you to spend your money on cigarettes.
Who knows the brand, this young man here?
Silk Cut.
That's Silk Cut, is it? And how do you know it's Silk Cut?
Because it's got the purple silk shirt going through the bed of nails.
Any idea why the government won't allow the advertising to be banned?
They don't like banning it because, like, other different countries are 75p, so they're on like 150 on each packet in tax.
And to attack passive smoking, a campaign for smoke-free cafes.
This is one of 200 cafes around here now that are totally non-smoking. Great. And look, these are all over the place now. This is the place, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. And how long have you been a non-smoking cafe?
A non-smoking cafe approximately 12 months.
Have you lost any trade through this at all?
No, on the contrary. I think we've gained trade. Like I say, I do monitor the situation, and in my experience, we have had no loss of custom through it.
Have you had any complaints at all?
None whatsoever, no.
OK. Nobody enters Castle's castle without some musical skills, however poor. And the music always precedes the talk. The anti-smoking campaign, obviously it's all very worthy, but it's not going to make much difference, is it?
I don't think it will. People just don't seem to think it will happen to them, you see. That's the problem. You can keep saying, look what's happened to me, and I didn't even smoke. Yeah. Look what's happening to 40,000 people every year, and nobody seems to take any notice. When young children get a cigarette, and people say, this will eventually kill you. Eventually it's like, well, I'll never get to eventually.
But what can you do against the tobacco industry? They're not going to be sitting down tonight saying, hell, Roy Castle's going for us again. It's not really going to worry them, is it?
I don't think so. No, shame, really. I wish it did worry them. I don't think it will. I would love it to, because I would love to see a smoke-free world from that point of view, because it does no good at all.
OK, I'm going to do you a favour. I'm going to give you a chance to have a plug. 3 sentences, no more, please, for the tobacco industry. Go.
Well, I haven't anything to say that they would want to hear, really. I would say, first of all, could you possibly dust out your consciences and just think what you're doing to people, just for money?
And here's a chance now to speak to Mrs. Bottomley, who I think didn't want to see you when approaches were made. What would you have said, or what would you still say to her if you met her?
Well, again, I think that if you're going to be really honest, to represent the country, then tobacco really should be banned. And I think that it's so difficult, because I know why they don't do it, you see. It's because there's all this money, and it's easy money, but it's dirty money.
I've watched you on the road. You have good days, you have bad days. There's some days when I know it's very difficult for you. How long are you going to keep this up?
As long as I can, really. I know that it's possibly a gradual deterioration, and I'm resigned to that. I've considered all the things that I have had out of life, and it's been fantastic, really.
What do you think might be next?
Well, that's the great mystery, isn't it? That's the exciting thing, really.
Do you think about that?
The body stops, obviously, because that's all there for everybody to see. But the spirit is something that we're not sure about yet. Many people are sure. I wish I was absolutely sure, but I can't be absolutely sure. But it's almost impossible to think that it will all just fade away and nothing. And that's me. Nothing. It may be like, wow, once you die and you see what's next, you might say, why on earth did I spend 60 years down there groveling around? You know, what a joke. I should have died when I was 2.
How can you be funny about what could be terminal cancer?
Well, you do one of 2 things. You either cry and go into a corner, or you face it face to face and just try and belittle it if you can, and go out fighting rather than squealing.
It's 103. You don't feel very good.
2 hours later, and those words become prophetic. A sudden chest infection has developed, and Castle's temperature is dangerously high.
My advice, actually, would be we get you into hospital, actually. Give you some antibiotics.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So when do you think?
Now.
Now?
Right
away?
Yeah, I think so. If you pop your things on, I think we'll get you through this without too much trouble, actually.
Yeah?
Yes, really, truthfully.
Well, I wouldn't have believed you half an hour ago, I can tell you. I thought, this is it.
Does that come as a surprise, or...?
In all honesty, once you left and I played the trumpet, you know that I started getting all shivery.
Nothing funny about what's going on with you now, is there? Really? At the end of the day?
No.
Yeah.
If you brought the boss of the tobacco companies in here today now, I don't think he'd make it to the hospital.
No. You will.
Passive smashing in the face and things like that.
That's all right. Yeah, that'll do nicely.
But the show does go on. After 4 days in hospital, miraculously, Castle's back on the boards. Roy? Hey.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Roy. Hi, how are you?
All right, thanks.
How was it in hospital?
Going okay. Well, that was all right.
Yeah?
3 days,
3 days.
antibiotics going through there.
But you're okay now?
Well, at the moment, it's good, yeah.
Isn't it time you got your makeup on? I have all the best lines. Listen, I wish you loads of luck, okay?
Thank you.
What do they say? Break an arm?
Break a leg.
That's the trouble with women. They simply won't let go. They hang on till the parson says amen. Hey, hey, yep.
And the trouble with Roy Castle is he just won't lie down.
They want to get married, and they do. And that's the trouble. Oh, yes. There you find the trouble. The worst and only trouble with men.
Today is no smoking day. No government spokesman would meet Roy Castle during the making of this film. In a statement, the government says it is committed to a comprehensive approach to reduce smoking. Last week, I reported on the potential dangers surrounding stage and pub hypnotism, and we asked those of you who thought that they may have suffered to get in touch with us. Well, the phone lines have been jammed.
Hello, Here and Now.
More than 450 telephone calls came in. People complained about headaches, depression, asthma, and even epilepsy. Stage hypnotists called in too to complain of bias, although they concede that the law is unable to control cowboy operators.
Although the law says I'm not meant to hypnotise you when you're in the audience, I still can.
The day after we showed this act, staged without a licence in Preston, councillors voted to ban stage hypnotism from the borough. And now for our final story, Linda Bryans reports on the controversy surrounding Britain's Dangerous Dogs Act.
We're supposed to be a nation of animal lovers, but try telling that to the people campaigning against the country's laws on dangerous dogs. British dogs, they say, are being hounded by the police, who are pursuing unworkable laws. But we all want protection against dog attacks, so why should we listen to those who say the Dangerous Dogs Act is a mess? Here's a question. Which one of these dogs could be affected by that law? The answer is all of them, if the police thought they were dangerous. Yes, even the royal corgis who've been known to snap at the Queen. Some dog owners have found this out to their cost.
If I'd been a member of the IRA, they really couldn't have bought more men with more material and to generally frighten me.
No, it wasn't a terrorist raid. The police were after the Thompsons' pet dog, Dom.
He's a lovely animal and he's so pathetically grateful for anything you do to him, you know, or anything for him. And he's very intelligent. He's responded so well to kindness and to being, to having a proper home and good food.
Mr. Thompson was at home when the police arrived.
Well, I was exceedingly shocked. I came to the door thinking it was the postman with a parcel. I found instead 6 huge policemen in black and with whips, leads and goodness knows what else. And eventually I got the notice saying that they had every right to come into the house, take the dog by force, and there was nothing we could do about it.
Dom, the dog, was imprisoned for 7 months. But just what was his crime?
I'd taken him for a walk in the local park, and there was a lady speaking to another old man, and her dog and Dom got involved in a scrap together, and he jumped for the dog, and his tooth caught in her cardigan sleeve and scratched her arm.
Dom was seized under the Dangerous Dogs Act and eventually, after a lengthy court battle, released. The Thompsons are so appalled that they've lodged a complaint against the police.
I think that law seems to me absolutely extraordinary. It was pushed through without any proper thought. I can well understand that obviously if you've got pit bull terriers trained for fighting, you've got to do something about it. But the average household pet is not in the same league.
We all remember the horrific attacks a few years ago, like the one on little Roxana Khan. The Dangerous Dogs Act was supposed to stop them. Pit Bull Terriers were responsible for some of the most vicious attacks, but they weren't the only offenders. Since then, there's been confusion over just what is or isn't a pit bull. This is Ben, who's just returned home after being in custody for 19 months. Both the police and the RSPCA thought he was a pit bull, and that means a death sentence.
He's been away for some time. How did they take him away in the first place?
About 6 RSPCA officers and police came round to where Zach lives and said, we're taking your dog. And we didn't really have much say in the matter. I was at work. And then from that day onwards, the trial happened.
How did you feel when they took him away?
Sick. I pleaded with them not to take him, that he wasn't a pit bull.
In the end, Ben was saved by the court, who ruled that he was just an ordinary mongrel. Having been away from his owners for so long, though, he's still got a lot to learn.
It's terrible. He's totally not house trained, and I think I'll have to start his training from scratch again.
Hey, Ben!
Dr. Roger Mugford, an animal behaviourist who treats the royal corgis, was a character witness for Ben at court.
It's staggering that we've had all these so-called wise and intelligent men and women, experts, deciding the fate of a little dog who's hurt nobody, will hurt nobody, who was picked up as a little youngster just for his looks.
He estimates the cost of the court case to free Ben at more than £70,000.
Money is no object when the killing of dogs seems to be concerned. Experts are brought in by the Crown Prosecution Service, the police, the RSPCA, paid very big salaries and go to incredible technical detail to prove that a dog is a pit bull terrier, and of course the defence are forced to do the same in reverse. Usually these clients are legally aided, and then at the end, no matter who wins or who loses, you can be sure of one thing: the public lose.
Police admit the act costs a lot, but say it is working. Inspector Martin Bagg is head of Dangerous Dogs Policy at Scotland Yard.
It's very, very expensive, because once a dog has been seized, we have to kennel it. In fact, in the first year, it costs us £1.2 million just to kennel them.
And it's the taxpayer who often ends up footing the bill. In one case in Wales, kennelling costs alone came to £67,000. But we've discovered that police are using a new tactic against dogs, which, although saves money, causes dog owners even more heartache.
I don't mind if I'd had justice, but I've had no justice.
This is Kizzy, who, like Ben, has been on doggy death row. She's harmed no one, but was seized off the street whilst being walked a year and a half ago. But the court case was dismissed, and Kizzy's owner, Jeanette Cragg, was told to come to the police station to take her dog back home. But the reunion was brief. The police re-seized the dog under a different part of the Act. They've used Section 5.4, which makes the case a civil matter and denies Mrs. Cragg legal aid. If she wants to save her dog, she'll have to pay her own costs.
So we'll take it down in writing and maybe give in evidence.
Only she's not a pit bull, that's all, yeah.
Using Section 5.4 makes cases cheaper for the taxpayer, but owners who can't afford the huge sums involved may be forced to let their dogs go. Kizzy is now back on death row.
Got no right because they're not qualified to do it. They're not qualified.
John Branch, a Kennel Club judge, is helping owners affected by Section 5.4.
A year ago, we'd never heard of this charge, and I believe it's coming in basically to save money, to save court time and police time. Of course, it's detrimental to the defendant who loses all her rights.
It has been suggested that the police are using Section 5.4 in order to save money.
No, I'd say that's not true. We don't use it that often. We use it in very specific cases.
It sounds to me like you're using that because you really want to get the dog. It's a case of when prosecution becomes persecution.
Oh, no. We've got a dog in custody. It is a pit bull terrier. What do we do with it? We can't give it back to the owner because it's a pit bull terrier. We can't destroy it because we haven't got a court order, because the case has failed through some technical reason. We obviously can't keep that dog for the rest of its natural life. The taxpayer would not stand for paying the money. The only way we can get round that is to take out a 5.4 to have the dog destroyed.
A campaign backed by vets, MPs and charities like Wood Green Animal Shelter here has already convinced the House of Lords that dogs should be let out on bail and that the automatic death sentence shouldn't apply. But there's a long way to go before the government will agree to change the law. The Home Office told us they are aware of people's concerns about the Act, but that they must protect the public. They've issued further guidelines to the police and have set up a special panel of advisors, but they have no plans to amend the Act.
I would like to think that the Dangerous Dogs Act will be repealed because it is simply unjust, because it is cruel and inhumane to animals, because it shows a lack of compassion for human beings. But I think the thing that will break it will be the cost issue.
From Here and Now for this week. If you've got anything to say about the items you've seen in the programme tonight, or if you've any new stories you think we should look at, please write to us at Here and Now, BBC White City, London W12 7TS. Next week, Shanka Guha reports on the phenomenon of repeat burglaries. Has your house been burgled recently? If so, it might just be the beginning of your problems.
I would say I've been burgled 28 to 30 times.
And war on the riverbank. Mark Easton reports on the battle between fishermen and angling saboteurs. That's all on next week's Here and Now at 7:30 on BBC One. I hope you can join us then. But for now, good night.